Okay, guys, welcome to High Impact Radio, the show that begs you not to believe everything you hear, question everything, and then question again so you can arrive at a logical, reasoned conclusion. Today I have a special guest with me from Arizona, former radio personality Ronnie McMullen. Ronnie, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Brian?
Man, I'm doing better than I deserve. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome, man. Well, as of last night, the Republicans have a new nominee. How do you feel about that?
Do we have to choose one of these people? Are they even people? Do we have to choose one of them? Is there anybody else to choose from?
You know, I see the excitement in people's eyes and their faces, and I just hear the elevated voices when they're so excited about their candidate. I don't care if it's from the Hillary camp or the Donald Trump camp or the Ted Cruz or wherever they're from. But I see people clamoring for a leader. Do you think in this day and age individuals need a leader?
Yeah, they need a leader, and they're actually looking for a hero. And there are no heroes right now. We are in a drought when it comes to heroes. So I think that these candidates that are coming up, Trump and Hillary, like I said, I wish there was somebody else to choose from. Even Cruz, I'm not a Cruz fan because, unfortunately, I'm not a corruption fan. And it seems that most of these candidates have corruption in their back pocket.
Well, I was reading, actually I posted something on my Facebook page because I thought it was kind of funny how actually it's not funny, it's sad, how the mainstream media tries to capitalize on the smallest things, but the largest things they just let go. So what I wrote was, I said, with all the fuss about Mulaney's scriptwriter's plagiarism of Michelle's, and some people call Michael's, scriptwriter speech, you'd think the girl misappropriated classified government emails and lied about it or something. I mean, we got Hillary basically getting away with murder, if you think about the Benghazi incident, and you got Melania reading from a script that was created by her speechwriter, which turned out to be plagiarism, and they're giving her all kinds of heck for it, but they're not giving Hillary too much heck for the stuff that she did. What do you think about that?
I think that corruption is the name of the game these days. Corruption is all the way, obviously, and has been for quite some time, to our presidential level. It is to vice president level. It is to Congress, to Senate, and we can go on down the lines, even down to the lowest lines of our personal mayors in certain cities. And this is not, a blanket statement. I mean, I'm sure there's a few good doers out there, but they're getting cornered that you will be corrupt or you will not be in this position. And that's where we're getting to right now. So it's a scary thing, Brian, that it's scary, but it's also good. And I'll tell you why I think it's good. Because when there's enough darkness, the light's going to shine through. That's what's going to end up happening. People have been lazy. They've been sitting on their duff. They're just like, oh, yeah, well, Trump will be okay. And Trump's not going to be okay. And Hillary is the devil himself. So, I mean, what are we choosing? Evil over evil? I'm not sure. It's scary stuff.
Did you happen to, speaking of Hillary being the devil, did you happen to catch Ben Carson's speech last night at the Republican National Convention?
No, I did not.
He said that, basically, I'm just going to paraphrase what he said, that Hillary Clinton is a disciple of Saul Alinsky, who basically tipped his hat to Lucifer in a foreword of one of his books. And it got all kinds of press coverage today.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's what, the darkness wins over. I mean, think about the news. Our news is not news. It's propaganda. You got the CNNs, the MSNBCs, all of these different outlets, and they don't tell the truth, and they tag everything that's full of fear, that's full of anger, that's full of hatred, that's full of racism. All of these things, this is what they supposedly report on, but they're not reporting. They're just stirring the pot. They're pot stirrers. And so what happens is we somehow lose our way. We don't get into the way of doing good, doing right, whatever. And it's just kind of, it's like a domino effect. Everything just gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, we have police officers being shot just because they're a police officer. We have, people into racism, and they don't realize that this racism that they're so involved in is all government sponsored. So we are in a world that unless the people wake up and say no to this crap, we're just going to keep getting worse. And people like Hillary Clinton, you know, I look for her, honestly, to be our president. Not because I want her, not because of any kind of votes, but because corruption is that high. We are at Sodom and Gomorrah. Most people don't understand Sodom and Gomorrah. They think, you know, Bible thumpers, they think that Sodom and Gomorrah was all about, you know, prostitution and sex and everything else, and it wasn't. If you actually read and do your work, you'll find out that Sodom and Gomorrah was about everything that was right was against the law, and everything that was wrong was right, and you got away with it. And that's exactly where America is headed.
Well, let me press you on a statement that you just said. You said racism is government sponsored. Just for, I mean, I've got a lot of listeners who'd be like, okay, you're going to have to substantiate that statement. Or maybe new listeners who are like, what's he talking about? So what are you talking about there?
Well, the government pretty much owns the media. Okay. And really, when I say government, it goes higher than that. The global elite is really who's in charge of this. And they kind of, you know, move the government around, put their people in place. You know, I think that the Joker said it really well in Batman, and he said, you know, what are your people doing? Okay, so this is exactly what they're doing. So when you're talking about government sponsored, if you look at most of the people that work for the government, I think it's like 56% right now of the public work for the government. So that means the government is paying the wages. Now, if you're going to lose your job, what are you going to do? If they say, I need you to do X, or you lose your job. How many people are going to choose X, even if it's bordering on corruption or looks like corruption? And this is where we are government sponsored to, when we come to racism, they push the numbers when they play all the videos, when they play all the things that go on, the MK Ultra, everything else. This is all about, it's kind of like me, I'll put it on a 6th grade basis. I go over to one guy and I say, hey, you know what? See that guy over there with the red hair? Yeah. He hates your guts. He really hates your guts. No, he doesn't. I don't know him. No, he told me at lunch that he hates your guts. He said he's going to kick your butt. He says, well, you know, after school, he's going to kick you and he's going to beat you to a pulp. Then you go to the other guy with the red head and you say, see that guy over there with the dark hair? Yeah. He hates you. He says you're a wimp. And he says that any day of the week he could beat you. You know, and you push these on both sides until both people are ready to fight. And they don't realize that somebody was in the middle sponsoring the whole thing. And this is exactly where the government plays. They play the black side and they play the white side, and they get blacks against whites, and they play this frequency issue where everything is against each other. And this is really, it's sad, but people play right into it. And they use the media. I just listened to Sean Hannity the other day, and it was talking about a black pastor, and he was worshiping a black Jesus. And he was saying anybody that comes to my church has to worship a black Jesus, or they're not welcome in my church. So I'm saying, okay, so is this acceptance? This is not. This is racism at the highest levels. And it's all, where do we hear this at? Sean Hannity.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect segue into a quote that I saw today with about Ron Paul. And I've read a lot of Ron Paul's stuff, and this really kind of hit home, especially with the Black Lives Matter groups and all these people out here who are spouting this, we need better treatment for our group. He said, racism is simply an ugly form of collectivism, the mindset that views humans strictly as members of groups rather than individuals. And at the very end of this pretty long quote, he says, the true antidote to racism is liberty. Because, I mean, let's face it, when you're out there heralding a collectivist ideology instead of individualism, you're going to completely get derailed every single time.
Yeah. Well, I think people are going to probably be mad at me. I am not racist. I will not play into that card. It does not matter, because really the basis of who we are is in our soul, and our soul has no color. It probably doesn't even have any sex to it. It's just a soul. It's a spiritual being. And so when I hear this Black Lives Matter, it torques me, because this, and this is nothing against the blacks at all. But Black Lives Matter, so what does that mean? Asian lives matter? No. And white people, they don't matter either? How about Spanish, Mexican, New Zealand? It doesn't matter. Any of these other people matter, or is it just black lives? And see, that's a racist statement. Just as if I was to say white lives matter. Okay? then I'm saying what? I'm saying, oh, well, if you're black, then you don't matter. If you're Asian, you don't matter, and then Black Lives, is it Black Lives male, or is it Black Lives female, or maybe both, or Black Lives children? Can you define? And see, they've defined just Black Lives Matter, but they've shut everybody out, and it's very racist. So that's like just saying police lives matter. Well, what about everybody else? What if you're not a police officer, you don't matter? Is that what you're saying? So it's really a racist statement.
Yeah, absolutely. And Black Lives Matter, whether people believe it or not, and this is going to be completely politically incorrect, but Black Lives Matter is an absolutely racist group. Continuing on that quote, Ron Paul says, racists believe that all individuals who share superficial physical characteristics are alike as collectivists. Racists think only in terms of groups, and by encouraging Americans to adopt a group mentality, the advocates of so-called diversity actually perpetuate racism. And I think that's what's happening in the Black Lives Matter. Well, just so my audience knows, you are the owner of a website called GetTheTea.com. Now, last time I had you on, I had some people who objected to me, promoting your tea, and oh my God, you're a sellout on YouTube. Look, he's just trying to make some money. Guys, here's my personal experience, and you can believe me or not, but I tried this tea that Ronnie sells to just basically clean me out, and I completely underestimated the product. I took it, and it totally cleaned me out. For like the next couple days, cleaned me out. And I felt good. You know how people can take supplements and subjectively they go, oh man, I felt great when I took that 1,500 IUs of vitamin C or whatever. This literally, I didn't feel good the first two days, maybe even 3 days, Ronnie. I did not feel good at all. I didn't feel good having to run to the toilet and all that kind of stuff. But I did not think, I'm a fairly healthy person. Seriously, I don't drink Cokes. I don't eat out at fast food. I think that's just garbage for you. I eat a very healthy, well-balanced diet. I love broccoli, chicken breasts. I drink tons of water. So I didn't think I needed it. And I can't imagine people who actually eat in an unhealthy manner how much they need to be cleaned out. But I brought this around to this. You sell this tea. This stuff works, guys. I suggest you get it. A lot of people have gone, oh, man, it's so expensive. I could do this stuff with psyllium, and I could come up with a concoction of stuff. First question, Ronnie, tell us about your tea. And secondly, tell us, it's a little pricey, but, tell us why. What's the deal? Can people just put something together and have the same effect, or what?
Well, here's what I'd say to that. I mean, so many people, I want to touch on a couple things here. Number one, you're selling out because you have me on because the product, and you're going to make a ton of money and everything else. Well, that's so much BS, okay? And second of all is if you are funded, because you're saying you're getting behind a product, that's done every day. And that's how these shows go forward, because it costs money to do shows. I was in radio for 12 years, and there's very few radio announcers, YouTubers that just have a big fat check given to them to do the work, especially if they're doing the reporting on stuff that's not really truly being reported on the mainstream media. It means they're getting their butt kicked. So when you have somebody come along and say, look, I'm going to support you to do what you do best, that should be a good thing. And all the listeners should be on your side, Brian, saying, dude, I hope this guy's way behind you. I hope he gives to you big time. That's what they should be doing, because otherwise, how do you stay on, I call it on air, but how do you stay doing something for people? And this is for people to wake them up, because you're not going to hear this news on CNN, Brian. You're not going to be a CNN anchor. They're going to look at you and say, are you kidding me? This guy and his information? I don't think so, because it might be the truth. So that's the first thing. Number two, these guys that say, hey, your concoction, and I could just go do this, then I would say, dude, go do it. Seriously. If you can do it for less and just put out a concoction that makes you healthy and wonderful, what are you waiting for? That's what I would say to them. Now, there's a lot of people that just have a negative attitude. You could hand them $1 million and it would, all the bills would be in the wrong direction and they'd be upset. So there are those people. So I always tell people, if they're wankers and they're complainers and they're, garbage eaters and all that stuff, they need the tea more than anybody else. The tea works. And I'm not trying to, excuse my French, piss anybody off. I'm just a real straight up guy. And, if it's too expensive, then I understand, don't buy it. But it's something that has been formulated, put together, and this works. And most people, the same people that say, oh, this is too expensive, are the same ones buying $6 or $7, cigarettes, or buying $12 or $15 worth of beer or whatever. And these things are killing you. My tea doesn't kill you. It gives you life. Now, let's go back to you, Brian. So here you are, a pretty fit guy. You eat right. You do all the right things. You drink my tea. And, oh, my gosh, we have bathroom runs. And holy cow, this thing is working. Think about that. So here's a fit guy eating, works out, eats the right stuff. And this cleans you out. Can you imagine the people that don't work out, they don't get the exercise, and they don't eat right, what it's going to do for them? It's changed you and helped you. What's it going to do for the guy that's not even up to your level? So this is something where and I enjoy what I do because I help people. I help people that have been overweight. I help people that have been feeling lousy. And when you feel lousy, your whole mental is shot. Now, if they're going to follow you and say, we need to be doing something and being active in doing the right thing, how do you do that when you're depressed? How do you do that when you're angry? How do you do that when your whole frequency is shot? And to me, what I do with this company, I'm excited about because I make people feel good. And they can say it doesn't work, but they're lying. They're lying to themselves. They're making excuses so they can keep buying their beer and cigarettes. And that's fine. I'm not against that. But unfortunately, they do jack you up a little bit. And so, everything is in moderation. But, so I look to get people healthy, and I get excited about that. So hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, well, you answered my question. I just want to say to everybody who's listening to this, I had a lot of subscribers drop off. They go, unsubscribe. This is ridiculous. You're trying to sell a product. Listen, guys. If you try this stuff, you will know firsthand that it works. I mean, I'm a documentarian, so I documented pretty much all my progress on this. I probably neglected some of it, but literally I lost 2.5 pounds, and I didn't really have body fat or weight to lose, which tells me that there was stuff inside of me that really needed to come out. And I'm convinced, after doing some research before and after taking the tea, that if you clean your colon, you clean the inside of your system out, your body becomes prepared to actually absorb the good nutrients you're going to give it after you do that. I don't know, what do you call it, Ron? Is that detoxification? What's happening there when you're getting rid of all that junk? Is that detoxifying?
You're detoxifying, yeah. You're because we don't know. Like I said, you ate good, you exercise, but you're still drinking water, you're still breathing air, so there's still garbage going in you, and we don't know exactly. Like, say we get an organic broccoli, and we go, okay, this is GMO free, but if it's over in Mexico, there's some shady issues that go on there. So it might not be GMO, it might not be organic, what have you. So this stuff gets into you. How do you get it out? And this is where the tea goes to work. I call my tea the 8 herbs are the warriors. And if anybody that has any, herbs were created before man, so they're here to stay. And this goes to work on your body. These 8 herbs go to work, and they're like little warriors. They take out all the bad, they leave everything that's good, and they leave that behind, and they take out everything bad. So this is why you're going to get more energy, you're going to feel better, you're going to lose a little bit of weight if got garbage in you. It's a wonderful thing. And the chances of you being sick lessen.
Okay, what if somebody's taking say they're taking heart medication, and you're telling us that the tea is basically going to strip all this stuff out of your system. How do they work around that if they're taking heart medication or something for, another part of their body for an ailment?
2 hours before or 2 hours after. Don't take your medication and drink the tea at the same time. It will take it right out. I guarantee it, because a lot of the heart medication is synthetic. So it's going to go after it. It's going to take it out. It's going to kick it out of you. So you need to have your stuff pro doctor. That's great. Then you need to make sure that your tea is 2+ hours ahead or behind of what you take for your pharmaceuticals.
Well, I'll tell you, man, when I took your tea, I'm serious, and I said this in my last show with you. I did the tea just like the directions say, and it looked so light and so weak to me that I called a colleague of mine, and I said, man, I took a picture of the glass of tea, and I said, man, is it supposed to look this weak? And he said, just drink the tea, man. I drank that stuff, and I don't know how long it was later, but I was running to the bathroom. I couldn't believe the stuff that was coming out of me. Sorry for being so graphic, but if there's a product that I really, really enjoy and I think that can benefit me, and then I think about others, will it benefit my family? Will it benefit my friends? There are very few products like that I would actually go, like I love these Blue Diamond almonds. It's like a wasabi Blue Diamond almonds. When I ate those and I looked at how many grams of fiber that you could get out of that, I was thinking, man, I would totally endorse this. I would totally, if I was some kind of celebrity, I would endorse this product. That's exactly how I felt when I drank that tea, Ronnie, because I was thinking, man, this stuff really, really works. I wasn't thinking that the first 1 or 2 days because, man, I'm telling you, it was uncomfortable, man.
And I'll tell the people, for the people that say, you know what, I'm going for this, I'm going to try it. I'll just tell you right now, if all of a sudden when you get it, you make your tea and follow the directions, they're very clear. If you make the tea and it is too much for you, you're doing the bathroom runs, you're going, oh my God, this is killing me. Maybe your stomach is churning and that kind of stuff. And it does, it will. Just drink less. Just drink. You're supposed to drink 2 8-ounce glasses a day. Drink less. Do 2 6-ounce glasses, which just means a month's supply, which runs $35. A month's supply will get you farther if you use less. But when you use less, then you want to get to a point where you're doing 2 8-ounce glasses, or if you're got to be working and you can't be in the bathroom or whatever, just do 1 glass at night, and then you'll be good to go. And this will just get your tea a little further down the road. There's a regular strength as well. It works, but the super tea is the baby. I mean, that's the one. And of course, Brian, that's what you took, is the super tea. There's a reason they call it super.
Yeah, because it works super. And make sure you have, the only prerequisite I would say if you're going to take this tea, make sure that you do a toilet paper run, because you need you will need toilet paper.
Oh, that's funny.
So that's Ronnie from getthetea.com. You guys need to get this tea. Seriously, it's going to benefit you greatly. And I'm about to do, I was telling Ronnie this, and I think I said this in the last show, I'm about to do my video on the best way to lose weight and lose fat. And the very first thing that I'm going to say that you got to do is you got to clean out your colon. You got to clean out the inside of you, so that when you do start eating healthy, when you get rid of the Coke, when you get rid of the Pepsi and the chips, and you start replacing that with chicken breast, broccoli, brown rice, you want those nutrients to be absorbed in your body, and you don't want there to be any kind of obstructions keeping that from happening. So, Ronnie, I really appreciate you being on the show today. Any parting words?
You know what? Just keep straight, keep your mind focused, and love's a great power. So that's what I'd say.
A lot of people ask me, hey, Brian, why do you take Life Change Tea? Well, I'll tell you what, it makes me feel great, gives me a bunch of energy, I feel stronger. But it's not just about me. I gave some to my girlfriend, and she changed completely. Take a look at this picture right here. Now, they say that love is blind, and she's always going to be my baby. But look at this. She looks a little peaked, a little withdrawn, a little down, and a little unhealthy. Tell you what, though, 3 weeks after taking Life Change Tea, it was a different story. Take a look at her skin now. It's vibrant, filled with color. Her eyes are bright. Her skin texture and her skin tone looks wonderful. And I attribute all that to Life Change Tea. It revolutionized our lives, and I'm sure it'll do the same for you. Pick yourself up some Life Change Tea from getthetea.com. It'll change your life.